Now, it's been 7 years since the computerized school placement system was introduced to bring some transparency to the process. Unfortunately, the system, since it was introduced, has not been spared the usual controversies, with this year being no exception. In the latest incident, some parents and guardians today besieged the resource center here in Accra to confront officials managing the exercise they believe are responsible for their frustrations with the placement of the awards.
These students and parents are standing behind this gate, not because they are late to work and have been asked to go home, but pleading for an opportunity to talk to authorities in charge of the computerized school placement and selection system. The gate to the entrance of the National ICT and Science Resource Center at Cantonments this morning was closed, and security men were not allowing anyone to enter. When the news team went to find out what the issues were, some frustrated parents who spoke off camera said they are not happy with the computer placement of the awards. However, we managed to get Pastor Oil, a parent, on camera.
My son has been placed at a school for the deaf and dumb. He's a normal person. He's not deaf or dumb. He checked it on the mobile phone, and they placed him at a school for the deaf and dumb at Mampokwapim.
On a visit to the placement center later in the day, the place was calm and the news team did not get any official to speak to. Joy News will follow up this issue and bring you developments as they happen. The computerized school placement system is a system used by the Ghana Education Service GES to place qualified basic education certificate students in the various senior high schools. It seeks to improve manual system of selection and placement.
I will certainly keep you posted on that particular story. Now, we're staying with education, and over the years, employable skills in the field of math and science have been dominated by men. To help change the status quo, however, the U.S. Embassy is organizing the Computer Mania program for young female students.
Women and girls have historically been underrepresented in the study of math and science. Interestingly, female students have over the years bought into the perception that science and math are for boys. To correct this anomaly, the Public Affairs section of the U.S. Embassy is organizing a week-long workshop in Accra, Tamale and Kumasi for schoolgirls aged 10 to 14. Speaking to Joy News, the Director General of the Ghana Indian Kofi Annan Center of Excellence in ICT, Dorothy Gordon, explained that for Ghana's economy to expand, more focus needs to be placed on promoting science and math education in the junior and senior high schools.
It's become clear that our society is becoming even more technology-driven than it's been in the past. And if we're going to keep up and Ghana is going to be competitive, it's very important that we harness all our brains. We cannot leave 51% of the nation's brains behind and say that they are not going to participate in this technological revolution. So it's very important for Ghana, if we're going to be competitive, that we harness all our brains, and that includes girls and young women and women. We need to improve the quality of our maths and science teachers. We need to send very clear messaging that this is something that you can do as a young person. It's a possibility.
The aim of the program is to heighten participants' interest in math and science and also encourage them to venture into its related fields such as information technology and engineering.
They don't know about science. They don't see many role models of girls in science. So it's not that they don't have the aptitude, it's just they don't have the experience and the knowledge. And to know careers and where they could possibly work, that's very important. The future in every economy is going to be technical jobs. So girls, if we don't get involved and more girls involved in technical jobs, we're going to be left out, because that's where all the jobs are going to be. Computers, ICT, robotics, technology.
Preparing students for a more scientifically and technologically complex world requires the best possible education, including the deliberate inclusion and full participation of parents.
Ghana has been selected among 9 countries in Africa to benefit from the Small Grant Program to create awareness and prevent pneumonia in children, one of the leading causes of their death. The grant is to promote pneumonia prevention and control in countries where childhood pneumonia has the greatest impact.
Pneumonia is a form of acute respiratory infection that affects the lungs. It is an infection of the lungs caused by bacteria, viruses and fungi. It is a very serious condition that sometimes leads to death. The disease can occur in both the young and the old. The condition is the leading cause of death among children under 5 and has claimed nearly 1.4 million children in 2010, with Ghana recording 10,000 deaths. The disease carries a number of effects which sometimes might even affect the brain. Pneumonia can be spread through ways such as environmental factors, poor ventilation and overcrowding.
Anywhere where there's an aggregation of people with poor ventilation becomes a high risk area for pneumonia. So like we know, during these cold environments, people tend to aggregate in order to keep warm, or they close their windows, or they aggregate around fires in days of old. And in that period, they cough and exchange all kinds of bacterial infections and fungi and viruses among themselves, and that precipitates the pneumonia.
In April this year, Ghana introduced the pneumococcal vaccine, which would help in the control of the disease, especially in children. At a press briefing today, the Greater Accra Coalition of NGOs in Health announced that 2 members of the coalition have received the grant of $10,000 to run the campaign against pneumonia for 6 months. The campaign is to be run in the Dangbe West district of the country, and the group explains the reason for the selection of the area and the activities lined up for the celebration of the World Pneumonia Day on November 12.
And because of the airborne diseases over there, because of the vast coastal area of the communities, so the issue of airborne diseases and pneumonia is also part of it. That was why we chose the area. We organized a workshop for 30 community people from 15 towns. After the training of the 30 participants, they will go back to the community to train others or educate others from the 15 communities.
Program coordinator for the expanded program on immunization, Dr. Entry Ejay, noted the grant is timely and would boost the fight against pneumonia in the country. He reiterated that the vaccines introduced are safe and are available at all health centers.
You're watching Joy News at 8. For more news, you can log on to www.myjoyonline.com or www.multitvworld.com, where we're streaming live. Time for business. Workers of Intercity State Transport Company are giving government up to tomorrow, October 2, to indicate what it intends to do about the company. They want to know their fate when government decides to either absorb SNIT's 80% stake or sell to a strategic investor before the October 3 auction date. The company is due to go on the hammer for defaulting on a loan it took from Prudential Bank to purchase some buses. The workers picketed today to drive home their point.
Last week, some employees seemed confident that the auction of the company would not happen because Director General of SNIT, Dr. Frank Odum, made some comments to this effect. The mood is different at the head office today. Workers were in red bands, burning ties and demonstrating against what they say is government and SNIT's lack of commitment to their plight. 2 days to the auction date, neither the government nor SNIT have said anything concrete. The workers say they need assurance from government.
As I speak to you, workers have not seen any document that shows that it will not come on. And once the court has given the rule, its rule, obviously it should come on. We wouldn't like to stay here for the auctioneer comes to ring the bell that is, the company is sold out, then we'll now be fighting. That is why we are calling on the government right now that tomorrow he should come out to let everybody know what is going on and what he can do for workers of SDC.
The workers blame the board and management of the company for the woeful predicament of the transport company. They, however, disagree that employees' poor performance and attitude towards work contributed to the problem.
It's never true that we are the cause. Workers of SEC, or for that matter, we down there are only implementers. What you ask us to do is what we do. So if anything goes wrong, we don't say that it is workers that have caused it. So for that, we don't agree. For 8 good years, we've never had a single increment. We've marked time all the time, and we all go to the same market. Look at the situation now. So it's very, very bad. So we think that for now, if somebody will come in, the government is not ready and will allow someone to come in, we'll leave it so.
Vehicles that we are running now are weak, but the mechanics and everybody, the drivers, are doing their best, bringing money to the company, but we are not seeing where the money is going to. We can see some of us workers, our salary is below the minimum wage in Ghana presently. Some of the workers here are taking home 70 Ghana cedis. Can that 70 Ghana cedis pay for rent? Can it pay for utility bills? Can it pay for student school fees?
The demonstrating workers are also accusing the managing director of STC, Charles Thompson, of taking solo decisions without consulting appropriate departmental heads. They claim, without the knowledge of the estate department of STC, Charles Thompson has rented out this portion of the STC yard to be used as a car park for MTN staff. The parking lot is managed by Total Parking Solutions, a private consultant, and accommodates 50 vehicles at 3 cedis, 80 pesos per parking space. According to employees, Total Parking Solutions take 2 cedis, leaving STC owners of the plot with 1 cedi, 80 pesos. The employees want the government to investigate all transactions that have been made by both past and present heads on behalf of STC.
Meanwhile, the PRO of Intercity STC, Cyrus Jograph Johnson, says the company was due to sign an agreement between MTN and Total Parking Solutions today, but that has been rescheduled. He admits though workers may be right in aspects of their demand for salaries, it is important to note the company needs income, adding not all management decisions can be discussed with workers before implementation. It continues, this notwithstanding, Cyrus Jograph Johnson tells Joy News, management will enter a meeting with Union Chairman Seth Kwame Martin to discuss workers' grievances. The Institute of Architects wants government to allow local architects an opportunity to compete for design contracts of any important national building, so the best ideas can be selected. President of the Institute, architect Adote Brown, said it is regrettable that Ghanaian architects are not involved in the building of national edifices. This was at the Institute's Golden Jubilee celebration.
In the 70s and 80s, many Ghanaian architects, both locally and foreign trained, were engaged by developers notable at that time, SNIT, and a few financial institutions in the development of social housing right across the country. It is regrettable, though, that since the completion of Job 600, in the design of a few buildings of national importance that have been put up over the 50 years of existence of our institute, namely the International Conference Center, the new Flagstaff House, and the Foreign Affairs Complex, local architects were not given a chance to participate in the designs.
The president of the Nigeria Institute of Architects, Ibrahim Haruna, in his address encouraged Ghanaians and all architects in developing nations to be confident in their works so as to attract international recognition.
The biggest problem with us architects here, especially in developing countries, we tend to remain in a shell. We don't come out. We just take the financial returns of our projects and be contented. But the greater part of our projects, the greater success story of our projects, we don't talk about them. Please let us talk about our projects. We should just get out of the thinking that people will see us as blowing our own trumpet. If we don't blow our own trumpet, nobody will blow it for us.
The guest speaker for the occasion, Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, E.T. Mensah, expressed worry about the manner in which houses are built haphazardly without professional architects' advice.
The filth in Accra, the sanitation situation that we're talking about is a product of haphazard development. What I found out in the first master plan by Nkrumah 1958 and saw the road network, Kada Highway today was fully built up. There were 12,000 houses that we demolished from Gold House to Rich for us to create Ghana highways. So the situation is serious. And I don't know how we're going to go about this thing, because it's the architects, the student architects who will have to, flex their muscles. So when the buildings are taking place, there's no architect to monitor the development. But our problem is enforcement.
He added that integrated development is a responsibility of all, as he declared the Jubilee Week celebration officially opened. With a recognized membership base of 800 architects, the Ghana Institute of Architects is the only legally recognized body by law to offer architecture advice and consultancy services in Ghana.
Meanwhile, the Association of Building and Civil Engineering Contractors of Ghana says the recent significant contribution of the construction sector to the country's GDP justified its calls for more attention to be paid the sector. In the second quarter GDP figures released by the Statistical Service, the industry recorded the highest growth, fueled mainly by the construction subsector with a growth of 10.8%, according to the Technical Committee Chairman of the Association, Roxing Dogbega. This emphasizes the need for initiatives to enhance regulation in the sector. He spoke to Joy Business at a stakeholders engagement to collate views for the establishment of a regulatory body for the sector. In other business news, British Airways is targeting Asian, South American and African routes as part of strategies to grow its revenues in the coming years. Post-financial crises and September 11 terrorist attacks have seen most airlines fold, merge or review their routes to stay in business. Chief Executive of British Airways, Keith Williams, tells Joy Business they plan to improve their company's fortunes by increasing flights to these regions, especially Africa. Meanwhile, persons wanting to travel to the US from Ghana can now fly with British Airways. We'll now bring you some smart investment tips.